Hello Yard Beat family and welcome to Yard Beat TV. Today we take a look at four-time former champion jockey George Hosang. George Hosang won 4 titles in Jamaica starting in 1972, 1973, 1974 and 1975 before migrated to Canada where he copped 2 titles at the Woodbine Racetrack in 1979 and 1981. Let's have a look at the story of George Hosang.
I grew up in Vineyard Town in Standrew and went to Blake's Prep on Glenmore Road. After that, I spent 4.5 years at Kingston College before entering racing at Caymanas College. Don't laugh. Caymanas Park is a college. SRG, who was your apprentice master and how were your early years at the track? I started with trainer Fitz Crawford in the middle 1960s. Crawford was a really good and knowledgeable person. He taught me a lot and laid the foundation for my growth and development. Interestingly, Emilio Rodriguez and I were apprentices at Crawford's stables at the same time, and because of that, a very strong bond developed between us which continues even today. Gee, riding your first winner. What was the feeling? My first winner was Short Circuit in a 3rd race, and as life would have it, my next winner, Welsh Darling, came in the 4th race. Man, I cannot even begin to tell you how happy I was. To realize that after so much work you could actually win is a feeling I always cherish. SRC, I remember you having some difficulties with fans at the racetrack. DS, I rode a horse by the name of Creation who was a Derby winner trained by Lori Silvera. Things didn't go quite right on the day, and I was taken to task by punters. Chini boy, yeah, Sion ride. And even stronger stuff came my way. To tell the truth, Creation was part owned by one of my family members who was doing his best to assist my career, and I was really trying to win on Creation. I can also share this with you. You know trainers get a commission when they win races. Silvera knew I was a young greenhorn just learning the trade, so when he agreed for me to ride Creation, he told my family member that if the horse lost the race, then my uncle would have to pay the commission. True to his word, my uncle handed over the money to Silvera and, being the gentleman that he still is, Silvera gave back the money to my uncle. SRC, 2 Derby winners in a row, then a second and then another winner. What are your memories of those wins? First, there was Kingpin in 1973. I had a choice in that race of riding Tachyon, who was eventually ridden by Jose Juicy Bravo for trainer Arthur Sharp, or Kingpin. And I chose Kingpin because I thought he was the better stayer. There is a story attached to Kingpin, as he was originally owned and trained by Sharp, but he sold the horse to Pato Chung, and the rest is history. Then came the filly Titania in 1974, and Reka for Ren Gonzalez in 1976. SRC, which Derby winner do you cherish most? Kingpin was my first, so that is special. Titania was a filly, and to beat the boys was out of the ordinary. Reka. Oh yes, Reka. Reka was known in his previous races as a strong run-on horse, but in the Derby the pace was so slow that I decided to put him in front. When I was passing the stands for the first time, I could hear the voices of the fans cussing me. What was I doing? Well, it was 2 to 3 lengths all the way to the winning post. That is my fondest Derby win. I must mention Fairy Queen trained by Nigel Nunes. I loved that horse so much. She was not the best horse I ever rode in Jamaica, but she was my favorite. When she finished second in the 1975 Derby to Tudor Wit, I was devastated. I had gotten so close to her. It was amazing. On a race day, she would look me straight in the eyes and I knew that all was well. Sometimes, I thought Fairy Queen was human. SRC, which other races stick out in your mind? There are several. The Fairy Queen loss in the Derby hurt a lot. Then there was the Governor's Cup of when I rode NDI in Flame carrying 133 lb for Sharp and got beaten on the wire by an apprentice Mikey Dixon on Phytopides carrying less than 90 lb. The Super Stakes win on the Viceroy in 1992 for Philip Feeney was out of the realm of ordinary. I had not been riding at Caymanas Park for a while, and got this opportunity to ride the Viceroy against a talented 3-year-old Milligram, and somehow I got the job done. I have ridden some really talented horses, 830, Davisville, Helen of Troy, Monte's Stitch, and many others. There is another race, when 830 faced Davisville. I rode and had developed quite a relationship with both horses, but when they met, I chose to ride Davisville for trainer Bobby Hale, and the trainer of 830 went for an apprentice, Simpson Brown, I think, who slipped 7 pounds, taking her weight down to 126 lb. Luckily, for me, Davisville won the race in a tough stretch duel SRC. You left Jamaica for Canada in the late 1970s. Why? Things had changed dramatically. Instead of people at the track calling me Duddy Shiny Man, which was okay, sometimes even funny, they were now throwing bottles and stones at me and other jockeys. Then crimes with guns increased a lot. I was held up several times and things just became bad. I left and went to Canada, where Jamaican trainers like Errol Lim Laurie and Michael Silvera assisted me greatly in settling down at the Fort Erie racetrack. To this day, I cannot forget that I won on the first horse I rode in Canada, where I eventually won the jockey's title twice. SRC, you had an awful accident in Florida in the late 1990s. Tell our readers about that guy. I was on a young filly at the Hialeah racetrack, a filly that was very calm and quiet. Then the horse next to her in the gates started to jump and rail. That affected my filly, who railed and threw me off, and then she landed on top of me, and in kicking out, one of her hooves hit me in the face. My mouth was completely smashed. I was out cold for a long while, and when I woke up, I was in hospital. It was as if my world had ended. It took me just over 2 years and 3 nagging surgeries to get back to where I am now. I still wake up in the mornings with some pain, which in another way is good, as that tells me I am still alive. But it was a long and torturous road back. SRC, George, what made you special in the saddle? For sure I was not as strong as Bimbo, but I quickly found out how to relate to horses. I had a very good understanding of how to deal with horses from early in my career. Then with time I started to understand and appreciate timing and pace, the key elements of riding winners. Every jockey goes into a race with a plan, but most times that plan flies through the window and you have to adapt. The better riders are the ones able to adapt on a consistent basis. Then there is something called hard work. You have to work hard. There can be no drop-offs. When you drop off the hard work, you lose out.
Stripe Super Stakes. They're off. Telegram comes away well with him. That's Jack Rollick. The Viceroy is over toward the rail, along with the President-elect, as they come rushing past us for the first time, with Jack Rollick going out now to set the pace. Dancing Wolf is leaping up to take him on as they go toward the clubhouse turn. The Viceroy is settled down into third. Cruising back of him, fourth, that's a Milligram. Classique toward the outside. President-elect is running the rail. Right there too, that's Indian Jewel and Aim to Please. Orient Express is toward the rail. Antarctica is forced to take the turn wide, running just ahead of Adjudicator and Monteverdi. At the back, it is Midas Touch. Some 15 lengths separating first from last as they turn over on the back stretch. Just about 6.5 furlongs remaining, and it is Dancing Wolf who sets the fractions. 2 lengths ahead of Jack Rollick, looping along easily into second. The Viceroy is tracking them a close-up third. 5 lengths back to Milligram, held up fourth. He's running just ahead of Indian Jewel into fifth. Toward the inside, that's President-elect running ahead of Aim to Please. Then Antarctica behind him, Orient Express with work to do from here. 2.5 lengths back to Adjudicator. Midas Touch now asked to quicken, going ahead of Classique as they go away down the back stretch. They come away now, leaving the half-mile pole, and with the lead, the Viceroy now pounces on Dancing Wolf. Milligram is going in chase already. Jack Rollick is on the fade as they come away toward the 3-furlong marker in the Super Stakes. And up front as they pass the 3, it is the Viceroy, just the leader. Taken on now by Milligram, a length adrift. They leave the 5-16. Dancing Wolf is fighting on the rail, but the Super Stake field turned for